Hey guys, this is Samuel, and something's really been bothering me. Now, as some of you may know, I attended Donald Trump's rally in Albuquerque. And, you and I have all seen on TV a lot of these protesters who were actually inside the event and had the police escort them out of the event. And, a lot of people speculate that these people were, you know, there peacefully and they weren't warned about what's going to happen, and how basically these people were just violently thrown out for their opinions. Now, I'm going to tell you some dirty truth about politics. In most politicians' rallies, they actually actively search for people who are going to be disruptors and kick them out of the event, or won't even let them into the event before they went in. Mr. Trump was different. A lot of these people were easy to pick out of a crowd. They were wearing anti-Trump stuff, and they were allowed into the venue anyway. And they were, at the door. A lot of them were asked, are you going to be disruptive? You have your right. You can come in, listen to Mr. Trump, and wear your anti-Trump stuff. That's okay. But please don't interrupt him, and we understand your opinion. And they let them into the venue anyway. And then, they sat down. And, the guy came up, one of the Trump staffers, you could tell because he's, wearing the little pink triangle that the Trump staffers wear on their lapel. He would go up to them and say, before the event started, before people started speaking, we told you at the door not to be disruptive. Just want to check again to make sure that you're not going to disrupt people. We completely understand your right to free speech, and if you feel that you can't get through the speech without disrupting Mr. Trump, we will kindly escort you out and, say sorry for making you wait so long. And you can join the other protesters and we'll show you where they're at. And, a lot of these people again said, no, don't worry, we won't be disruptive. We're just here to listen to Mr. Trump. We may not agree with what he says, but we're here to listen to him. And they would let them stay. And then one more time over the speaker, they would tell people once again, this is a private event paid for by Mr. Trump. We appreciate your right to free speech, but a lot of, the 8,000 people here in this room came to hear Mr. Trump and not necessarily to hear you. So please, if we would appreciate it if you feel you have a right to protest, we will kindly escort you out if you feel unsafe, and we will show you where you can protest. And a lot of them stayed seated. They were very there. One was behind me, and, this woman was behind me, and she was wearing anti-Trump stuff, and she was there, sitting there the whole several hours that we had to wait while they filled the room and made sure everyone was safe and in a comfortable position. So we waited for the event to start, and then the event started, and of course, a lot of them disrupted the event. So they were warned, not once, not twice, but some of them 3 or 4 times, that please don't disrupt. We appreciate your right to feel the way that you do, and if you're here to listen to Mr. Trump, that's fine. I'll tell you right now that a lot of politicians would have kicked them out at the slightest hint that there may have been a disruption from one of them. That's just the honest truth. I know a lot of Tea Party activists and stuff who, tried to do the similar things at Democratic events, and a lot of, the local staffers would recognize them, tell security, and security would kick them out. That's why that type of stuff rarely happens at other politicians' events, because they won't even let them in to hear the candidate. Their job is to try to prevent any disruptions. And Mr. Trump allows these people to come in because he, believes in a chance to listen to someone that you don't agree with, which, a lot of politicians, they pay for these events. They want everything to be on message. They want everything to be on point, and they want everything controlled. But Mr. Trump, does truly believe in the right, the freedom of speech. And, he appreciates that people would spend money and time to come to hear him talk. And even if they don't agree with him, he lets them into their venue. And, a lot of these people were also given a chance to peacefully leave. Like, not only the 3 or 4 chances were they warned, but Albuquerque Police Department and the Fed officers that were there, you know, they would go up to these people once they started chanting and trying to disrupt the event. They would kindly ask them to walk out with them. But like the lady behind me, she was pushing, shoving, refusing to move, and even tried to, at one point, to bite one of the officers. It looked like she was trying to bite them because they had a hold of her arm, and she was like trying to move her mouth towards it. These weren't peaceful protesters. These weren't courageous people. These weren't people, you know, trying to spread a message. These were selfish people looking for 15 minutes of fame on television. That's all they were trying to do. They weren't, you know, courageous people. I'm sorry, they weren't. They were warned several times. They were given ample opportunity to peacefully leave, and they chose to make a mountain out of a molehill. They could have joined the other protesters outside, and they were given several opportunities to do so. They wanted to disrupt. They wanted to try to ruin 8,000 people who were there to hear Mr. Trump's night. That's all they were trying to do. It was frankly disgusting. I think that, you know, Trump gets a bad rap for how he deals with these protesters. The fact is that if it were any other politician, they wouldn't have even let the protesters into the building. You know, and, you know, it's a style choice. Some may not necessarily agree with letting these people in at all, but I think that Mr. Trump has been unfairly, you know, criticized for how he deals with these people, especially since some of these people got 4 or 5 warnings. You know, these people weren't difficult to point out of a crowd. They were wearing stuff like dump Trump and the F word Trump and all this other stuff, and they were given ample opportunity to remove themselves or to be escorted peacefully by police. So I don't feel sorry for these people, and I don't think anyone should. Samuel out.